Now available in paperback and coming to Kindle Unlimited. John Haynes, Dark Succubus. The man who rules the world is tempted by a sultry succubus in this all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get John Haynes, Dark Succubus in paperback or pre-order on Kindle Unlimited today. Marvel Studios has announced that they will be rebooting Blade as part of its Phase 4. And I have my reservations about Marvel Studios rebooting Blade because the 1998 film is a classic, and it was the film that literally revived the superhero movie genre. Now, before 1998, we had Batman and Robin with George Clooney and and Batman and Robin was critically panned, and it failed at the box office. And in the aftermath of Batman and Robin, we had many speculating that we were at the end of the superhero movie genre. And if it wasn't for Wesley Snipes coming in with his clout as an A-list star to make Blade, we would not have the superhero movie genre we have right now. Now, back then, the superhero genre, again, was on the brink of ending. And if it wasn't for Wesley Snipes, again, using his A-list clout to get Blade produced, we wouldn't have everything we have today. So we have to thank Wesley Snipes for reinventing the superhero movie genre. And I believe one of the glaring omissions from this new Blade reboot is the lack of Wesley Snipes, the man who I believe is the father of the entire superhero movie genre. So when I look at this whole Blade announcement and I don't see any sort of acknowledgement of Wesley Snipes or his contribution to the genre, that's a red flag for me. And it's even more insulting when you think about that Wesley Snipes, again, was the man who revived the entire superhero movie genre with this character Blade, and he made this character an iconic character based on his vision of the character, because if it wasn't for Wesley Snipes, everything we have known as Blade in the movies that everybody knows as Blade would not be here today, because before Wesley Snipes came along, Blade was basically a background character who appeared in Marvel's horror comics like Werewolf by Night, Doctor Strange, and Ghost Rider, and many other books like Tomb of Dracula. He was a background character and not a main character at all. And it was Wesley Snipes who had the vision to reinvent this character, and he was the one who designed everything about the character of Blade that made him distinct. And it was Wesley Snipes who gave Blade that distinct haircut. It was Wesley Snipes who gave Blade those unique tattoos. It was Wesley Snipes who came along and gave him that distinct body armor. And it was Wesley Snipes who gave him that unique throwing star, and in addition, gave him that martial arts background. So all of those skills and abilities all came from Wesley Snipes, and Wesley Snipes reinventing the character to be his vision of the character. So everything that was Blade was actually Wesley Snipes, and he does not get the credit he is due for reinventing this character. And again, Marvel Studios, I don't believe they have the ability to make anything as unique or distinct as Wesley Snipes, because Wesley Snipes was basically working from a literally blank page, taking the name of Blade and then just taking the character and reinventing it and making it fresh for the 1990s and for 1990s superhero genre film. But I don't believe that Kevin Feige can go out here and make the Blade character as fresh as Wesley Snipes, and I don't believe he has the vision to make the character distinct the same way Wesley Snipes did. And the reason why I can say that is because when I look at what Kevin Feige has done with Phase 3, I don't have that confidence in his ability to make Blade as distinct, because I look at his films like Ant-Man and the Wasp, Spider-Man Far From Home, Avengers Endgame, Avengers Infinity War, and Captain America Civil War, and I see a series of films with very bland visuals, very generic special effects, and very repetitive stories. And I don't see any sort of ability to come out here and give us a very dark story like the Netflix producers and writers did with Daredevil, the same people Kevin Feige had an issue with and pushed the MCU away from. Those writers and producers who wrote Daredevil, I could have a little confidence in their writing ability with the way they handled Daredevil in Season 3 and the way your Chio Hodari Coker handled Luke Cage in Season 2. Unfortunately, your Kevin Feige has burned the bridge between those writers, producers, and directors who could have given us a dark film on that level of Daredevil or Luke Cage. And now he's going to go out here and create this Blade with Mahershala Ali. And I don't, again, have that confidence in him to do that based on the films he has produced that are very, again, generic and repetitive. And the vampire genre requires somebody who understands how to handle not only the horror genre, but also knows how to handle the fantasy elements of horror. So I really see some real serious problems with this Blade movie, and I also see problem with the actor of Mahershala Ali. Yes, Mahershala Ali is a very talented brother, and he did a great job playing Cottonmouth on Luke Cage, and he got 2 Oscars for Moonlight and your Green Book, but I just don't see him as being Blade in my eyes. I always see Wesley Snipes being Blade because Wesley Snipes put so much of himself into the character that I don't think Mahershala Ali can go out here and play that character on the same level. And I also don't have faith in Marvel Studios to give us a Blade film on the level of your Wesley Snipes, because when I look at Mahershala Ali again, I look at the roles he has played, these characters like he did in Moonlight, the drug dealer, and I also look at the Green Book where he was playing the homosexual man. And again, I don't have confidence in Marvel Studios to go out here to give us that masculine heterosexual male image that Blade personified in the first Blade. Now, in the first Blade, Wesley Snipes literally portrayed a strong image of black manhood, a strong image of black masculinity, and I don't have confidence in Marvel Studios to give us that strong image of black manhood or masculinity in their films based on their past history and the past history of many of these superhero films, which have made efforts to minimize the image of black men and have made efforts in many ways to either asexualize or homosexualize the image of black men. So I don't have confidence in Marvel Studios to give us that strong, masculine, heterosexual Blade that we saw in the first Wesley Snipes movie, the alpha male that he was. When I think of what Marvel Studios is going to do, based on what they have done with Black Panther, where they literally minimized Black Panther in his own movie, and we got this excuse, it was about building the world of Wakanda, but the main character of Black Panther was neutered and emasculated in his own film, and I don't really want to see that done to Blade, the vampire hunter, who in Wesley Snipes' movie was this total bad A dude, and I don't want to see that done to him. I don't want to see him emasculated and neutered the way Black Panther was, because Black Panther in the comics was a total alpha male, a total boss, but in this Blade that Marvel Studios is going to do, I have a feeling we're going to get this beta male that we got with Black Panther, and that's not who Blade was in Wesley Snipes' vision. And if you give us that neutered, emasculated black male, it's going to really turn off a lot of people. Now, my other gripe with Marvel Studios is I believe Marvel Studios is going to go out of its way to try to push identity politics in this Phase 4. And I believe that instead of giving us a story of Blade the Vampire Hunter, they're going to give us a story of a quote-unquote black hero. And I believe we're going to get a flat and one-dimensional story if they decide to start pushing the identity politics and the social justice narratives. And if they push that on in this story, it's really going to take away from who Blade really was in Wesley Snipes' classic and iconic film. And the other issue I have is with Marvel Studios about this new Blade reboot is I believe that they're not going to really be able to do any justice to the visuals. Now, when I look at Blade, I always saw it as an iconic black goth film, and the gothic visuals in Blade were so unique and distinct that they haven't ever been really imitated on any sort of level. And I don't believe that Disney will be able to make a Blade film with those type of dark visuals, because when it comes down to Disney, they're used to making these very bland, sanitized, and very family-oriented films. And for a Blade movie, you need those dark, gritty visuals. Moreover, you need to have a lot of violence, a lot of blood and gore. And Disney is a company known for making PG and PG-13 movies. And Marvel Studios movies are usually PG and PG-13. Now, Blade is an R-rated character. He's a hard R character. And he's known for being dark, gritty, and violent. And this is not a character who I believe fits organically in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I don't really, again, see how he fits into Phase 4. And I believe that the whole Blade reboot overall sounds and looks more like a cash grab by Marvel Studios to make up for many of their lacking films like Eternals and like many of their other movies like Thor, Love, and Thunder. And this is a movie meant to try to get people to stay in the superhero genre, and it looks like it's not a thought out plan to get people to stay in the superhero genre. And I still have those reservations about this whole thing, because when I think about Wesley Snipes and the way he was done, how he's not really a part of this film and has not been announced to be a part of this film, I take that as a backhanded slap to black men overall, and I take it as a jab at black men and their contributions to the superhero genre, because again, Wesley Snipes was the man who saved the superhero genre, and instead of paying Wesley Snipes the respect he deserves for saving the superhero genre, Kevin Feige looks like he put up a middle finger at Wesley Snipes and expressed contempt for him instead of paying total respect for this man by giving Wesley either a cameo role in this Blade movie or making him Whistler, or even putting up something to say, we want to give a tribute to Wesley Snipes, because if it wasn't for Wesley Snipes again, we would not have had any other superhero movies to come after it, because Blade was the blockbuster that restored Hollywood's confidence in the superhero movie genre. And if after Blade we got the X-Men, we got Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, and we got the Batman Dark Knight trilogy and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So Wesley Snipes is someone who deserves every comic fan's respect, because Wesley Snipes was the man who saved the superhero genre. And this black man deserves every amount of respect from every comic fan. And again, I really have my reservations about the way Kevin Feige has treated him and not announcing that he has a part in this movie, because he deserves to have a part in this movie. This was the character that Wesley Snipes redesigned, redefined, and thanks to his redefinition and redesigning of this of the Blade character, we have the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I believe if you're going to make a reboot film, there needs to be a tribute to him in that film, and there needs to be a film that treats hit the character he reinvented with the respect that it deserves. And I believe that we need a story that brings the character and makes him fresh for the 21st century. Now, again, I don't believe that Disney is the studio that will be able to do that effectively, because Marvel Studios at this point has become the studio more about social justice than providing us with faithful adaptations to superheroes, and they've been making more efforts to deviate from the source material these days rather than stay true to the stories like they did. So I don't have much confidence in the Marvel Studios with Blade, and I believe they're going to make too many cuts to this film to give us that fresh take that reinvents the character the way Wesley Snipes did in the 20th century. And I believe what we're going to get from Marvel Studios is a dull and watered down version of the character that is really bland and generic, that really doesn't do justice to the character and really won't get people to be as excited for Marvel Studios' interpretation of Blade the same way they were for Wesley Snipes' interpretation of the character back in 1998. If you want to read some of my characters who are darkly inclined, like John Haynes, you can pick up the John Haynes series on Amazon.com in paperback. There you can find the John Haynes characters books like The Temptation of John Haynes, The Man Who Rules the World, John Haynes, A Conversation with Death, and John Haynes' Dark Succubus in paperback and ebook. And if you want to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, Esteemed Goddess of. Hell's aspiring angel takes on a demonic dominatrix in this action-packed all-new Esteemed series adventure. Get Esteemed Goddess of in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today.